So he's basically saying that feminism has already achieved its goals, that women have equality,
Right.
and there's, like, no need for further activism.
Pretty much, yeah.
But that ignores, like, the very real inequalities that women still face
Exactly.
in so many areas.
Yeah, like the wage gap and the
Right.
lack of representation in leadership positions, the constant threat of, sexual harassment and violence.
It's like he's ignoring the lived experiences of so many women
Right.
who still deal with discrimination every day.
Exactly. And that's something that Avalone seems to either like completely miss
Yeah.
or deliberately ignore in his analysis.
It's like he wants to boil feminism down to just these isolated incidents of political correctness gone mad, but he's not addressing, like, the underlying systemic issues at all.
Right. He's missing the bigger picture.
Okay, so from feminism to school shootings, Avalone does not shy away from controversy.
Nope.
And his take on the gun control debate is,
What, a little spicy?
let's just say, provocative.
Okay.
He tackles this tragic school shooting in Florida,
Yeah.
saying he wants solutions,
Okay.
but then criticizing what he sees as politically motivated responses from, like, both sides.
Interesting.
His critique here is kind of interesting because it's coming from a different angle than you might expect.
Okay.
He criticizes the left for immediately blaming the NRA
Right.
and calling for stricter gun control. But he also criticizes the right for, advocating for more guns in schools
Wow.
as a solution.
Okay.
It's like he's saying both sides are too quick to jump to their, like, predetermined conclusions without actually addressing, like, the root causes of gun violence.
Interesting.
He argues that stricter background checks are necessary,
Okay.
but that banning guns altogether just isn't realistic. He puts a lot of emphasis on individual responsibility, too,
Okay.
arguing that we need to address mental health issues
Right.
and teach people to be more accountable for their actions.
It's a complex issue.
Oh, for sure.
With no easy answers.
Yeah.
And I think Avalone's take kind of reflects that complexity.
Right.
He's not offering like any simple solutions,
Right.
but he is pushing back against what he sees as, simplistic thinking from both sides.
But then he goes on to blame the local sheriff and the FBI for not acting on warnings about the shooter's mental state,
Okay.
suggesting that they, like, bear some responsibility for the tragedy.
That's a pretty controversial statement, and it's one that's been debated a lot
For sure.
in the wake of these school shootings. It raises questions about, like, the role of law enforcement in preventing these tragedies.
Yeah.
And whether they could be doing more to, identify and intervene with these potentially dangerous individuals.
And it also touches on this bigger issue of, like, mental health.
Absolutely.
And how we as a society address mental illness, especially among young people.
It's a good point. It's a reminder that school shootings aren't just about guns.
Right.
They're about this, like, really complex web of factors, including mental health, social isolation, access to resources,
Right.
and even, cultural attitudes towards violence.
Right.
And addressing this issue, it requires a multifaceted approach that goes beyond just, like, simple solutions like banning guns or arming teachers.
Okay, now this is where things get a little weird.
Okay.
Avalone completely shifts gears and starts talking about Conan O'Brien's trip to Haiti.
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, after Trump made those, controversial comments about the country.
Right.
He's basically accusing O'Brien of being a hypocrite
Okay.
for promoting Haiti as a great place to visit, while also, like, linking to a charity that supports Haitians.
This is interesting because it gets into this whole idea of performative activism
Okay.
and the way celebrities use their platforms to engage with social and political issues. Avalone seems to be suggesting that O'Brien is more interested in, like, appearing virtuous
Right.
than in actually making a difference.
He's basically accusing him of virtue signaling.
Exactly. He's saying that O'Brien's using this trip to Haiti
Right.
to boost his own image and make himself look good rather than out of any genuine desire to help the Haitian people.
And it's not just Conan O'Brien.
No.
He also takes aim at Justin Trudeau for, like, correcting a woman who used the word mankind,
Oh, right. I remember that.
arguing that it's, a prime example of political correctness gone mad. This whole segment feels like a critique of what Avalone sees as, like, the excesses of language policing.
Right.
And this obsession with being politically correct.
This taps into a much broader cultural debate about the role of language in shaping, our thoughts and behaviors.
Right.
Proponents of inclusive language argue that using, gender-neutral or non-discriminatory language is important because it helps to challenge harmful stereotypes and create a more equitable and inclusive society.
But Avallone seems to see it as, like, totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And even ridiculous, like this attempt to control people's speech and thought.
Right.
He views it as, like, an example of the woke left trying to, like, impose their values on everyone else.
Yeah, this is a recurring theme in Avallone's work.
Totally.
He often frames these debates as, like, a battle between free speech and political correctness, with himself as, like, the champion of free expression against the forces of censorship and thought policing.
It's interesting, though, because he's using his platform to criticize those who he believes are trying to silence dissenting opinions.
Right.
But in doing so, he often resorts to the same kind of, like, dismissive and insulting language that he accuses his opponents of using.
It's a bit ironic, isn't it?
Totally.
It really highlights the challenges of having, like, productive conversations about these issues in the current climate.
Right.
It seems like everyone's just so entrenched in their own positions and so quick to, like, demonize the other side that it's almost impossible to find any common ground or even to have a civil discussion.
It's like Avallone is constantly on the lookout for, like, the next woke outrage to dismantle.
Yeah.
He even goes after SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, no, not SpongeBob.
I know, right?
What did SpongeBob do?
Well, he gets pretty worked up about this university professor who labeled SpongeBob a violent racist colonizer.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild claim.
That's a bit much, isn't it?
Avallone uses it to illustrate his point about cancel culture. And the absurdity of some of the critiques coming from the, woke left.
I mean, it does kind of make you wonder where we draw the line, right?
Exactly.
Between valid criticism and just, like, excessive outrage.
And to prove that he's, like, an equal opportunity offender, he also throws in a jab at California for banning plastic straws.
Of course.
It's like he's saying, look how ridiculous these people are. They're coming after SpongeBob and our straws.
So, like, what's the takeaway here? What are we supposed to make of Avallone and all of his, controversial views?
Well, he's definitely a polarizing figure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's provocative. He's, like, unapologetically opinionated. And he's definitely not afraid to offend people.
But I think it's important to, like, actually engage with his arguments. Even if we don't agree with them. Because they do reflect, certain anxieties and frustrations that are, like, really prevalent in our society right now.
Like that feeling that things have gone too far.
Yeah.
That political correctness has run amok and that people are just, like, way too quick to take offense.
And while we may not agree with, like, his methods or his conclusions, I think it's important to at least listen to these concerns. And try to understand where they're coming from.
So how should we, like, approach Avallone's content then?
That's a good question.
Should we just take it at face value?
I don't know about that.
Or should we be more critical?
I think it's important to be both, honestly. Like, we should be open to hearing what he has to say. But we should also be critical of, his arguments, his sources, his methods. We need to be able to, like, identify the biases and distortions that are often there in his work. And separate the valid points from, just the inflammatory rhetoric.
And most importantly, I think, we need to remember that there's always more to the story than what we see in, like, a single video or a single tweet.
Absolutely.
We need to, like, seek out diverse perspectives. Engage in respectful dialogue. And be willing to, change our minds when presented with new information.
I think that's key.
So even though this deep dive has taken us down some pretty dark and controversial paths,
it has.
I hope it's also been a chance to, like, reflect on our own beliefs and biases.
I agree.
And to, engage in some critical thinking about these complex issues that are facing our society today.
Well said.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from cultural appropriation and political correctness.
You really have.
To feminism, gun control, even the alt-right.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
And I think it's clear that these are issues that, evoke strong emotions and deeply held beliefs.
Definitely.
And there are no easy answers.
That's for sure.
But what's most important is that we continue to have these conversations.
I agree.
To listen to each other and to challenge each other's assumptions.
Because only through dialogue and understanding can we really hope to bridge these divides that, threaten to tear us apart.
We hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought.
Yeah.
And maybe even inspired you to, keep exploring these topics on your own.
There's always more to learn.
Always more to discuss.
And more to understand.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.